You guys, this might be my new favorite intercropping for garlic. I have had so much fun with this bed, and I'm gonna explain everything I love about this intercropping, why it seems very unconventional, but why I love it so much, and why I think that you can implement this in your garden to have incredible success as well, not only growing heaps of dill or other crops in this family, we'll talk about that in a second, and garlic. I just think this is absolutely astounding, and I just can't wait to talk more about it. Let's go. Last fall, around October, we planted this garlic here. Now the garlic just simply grew in the raised bed until the spring. Then around early May, we actually took dill seed and we interseeded dill in between, in the rows between the garlic. Now, why this became probably one of my all-time favorite intercropping methods has to do with the fact that this dill acted as probably one of the most superior mulches for our soil to actually aid the garlic's development, because garlic, it is very dependent on two things. It's dependent on soil moisture, and it's also dependent on weed pressure. Weed pressure and soil moisture are two things that will greatly affect the size of your garlic heads. And what I'm super stoked about is the fact that this dill here did exactly what we were expecting it would do, and I am over the moon about it. This dill has not only grown rapidly to actually kind of outcompete some of those weeds that would actually kind of give the garlic weed pressure, but it allowed the garlic to get growing so that the garlic, by the time the dill was actually competing for the garlic is just about ready to be harvested, meaning that at this point in the garlic's phase of its development, it's irrelevant. And so when the dill was small, the dill was only this small, it still had the dense foliage that it has now. It's just gotten bigger than when we first planted it. And that allowed twofold to happen. So this dill suppressed weeds. Check it out. Look at this. So we're coming in here. There are like one weed right there. That's it. In all this open space, there is no grass. There are no weeds. It has completely smothered and shaded the soil, basically rendering any weeds inviable because they can't access sunlight to photosynthesize. The second thing that it has done is that dense foliage has actually helped to mulch and hold moisture in the soil. So the garlic needs moisture to size up, and it needs less weed pressure to size up. And because the dill has smothered the weeds and held moisture near the soil, check it out. Look at this. We have not watered this bed. We have not watered this bed. And if I dig down here, look at this. Look at how damp this soil. The soil is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And we have not watered this. We have been in a state of drought here in Michigan for about the past 4 weeks. We've gotten one rain in the past 6 weeks. And yet we have not watered this bed, not one single time. Compare that to the bed right behind you. Now compare that to this bed. This bed we have our tomatoes in, and the tomatoes have not yet filled in yet to shade the soil, which will happen over time. But look at this. The soil is easily 30 degrees warmer than what was shaded. And check this out. Look at how just silty this stuff is. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's like playground sand. It's so dry. We just desperately need water. We're gonna be watering these later today. But look at this. Look at my hand. I mean, it's like gymnast chalk. It's just so dry. Comparing that to the garlic bed that has the dill interplanted, it's just night and day. Now I know you're probably thinking, Luke, I don't need this much dill. What am I gonna do, open up a pickle factory? No, you probably don't need this much dill. This was what we call a proof of concept. If we did too much messing around, it would lead to a lot of different variables. And what we wanted to keep constant was a plant that grew densely and low initially until the garlic became of mature, kind of harvest ready age. And so that constant was the dill. Now, could you do the same thing With carrots, absolutely. You'd have to plant the carrots a little earlier because the foliage doesn't get quite as dense, right? But you could absolutely interplant carrots. Could you do this with fennel? Absolutely, you could do this with fennel. Could you do this with, obviously dill? Absolutely. There are several crops in this family that produce very, very dense foliage. Parsley would be another great example, right? You need to plant crops that have fine, wispy foliage that help to actually protect the soil, helps to actually mulch the soil, but doesn't necessarily grow super fast initially in the beginning to compete with the garlic. All of these plants that I've talked about all start small, allowing the garlic to get growing, get that garlic up and growing, and then in like late May to early June, that's when they take off and grow. And by the time the competition becomes a problem, you're already harvesting your garlic. So no, you don't have to use dill, but this just shows how powerful of an example this is. And to drive the point home, I'm actually gonna harvest, it's not ready yet, but I am gonna harvest a head of garlic here just to show you that this in fact does work. And how I know that the garlic is going to be beautiful, I hope the one I grab is gonna be beautiful, but how I know that across the board, the average garlic head is going to be larger than normal is because I can tell because the neck of the garlic is large. There's a direct correlation to the size of the head of garlic to the neck on the garlic plant. We've talked about this in the past. And so I'm gonna pull one up here, and I know that it's going to be not ready to be harvested yet. It's not even close. We're in June, and we still have a full month left of development to actually get sizing up. But it's going to show you that with the vast amount of maturing that still has to be done with sizing up, the garlic is basically, it's done competing, and now it's just sizing up. And what we're gonna see here is, look at this. This is absolutely incredible. This garlic, again, is nowhere near ready to be harvested. You wanna harvest garlic when about 75% of the plant is brown. So we are still talking like this has got a lot of maturing left to go, easily probably 20 to 30 days left before harvest. But already, we're already talking about garlic that is almost golf ball size. This will easily be, this will easily be that big around by the time we're harvesting. And that is using dill as an intercropping plant with the garlic. I am super excited about this. I love the prospect of this simply because I think the two plants coexist very well together. And also, the dill, it's such a beautiful plant, it's fragrant, it's beneficial, and you don't have to do just dill. You could plant carrots and others. You could intercrop a lot of those different plants with your garlic, but it gives you the ability to grow two plants in the same space as one typically. Lastly, I wanted to show just how kind of effective intercropping of dill is when comparing it to our control. So our control was just our regular bed of garlic planted out here. And what we'll see, I mean, the size of the neck, same variety. These are all a variety known as Amish Rocambole. And if you look at the neck, I mean, the neck size on all of these, they're 25 to 30% smaller. And that's because the soil, it's dry and dusty. There's no cover, no protection. There's no intercrop to hold the moisture in. There's a lot more weed pressure, right? There's a ton more weed pressure. We've been weeding this bed since spring started, and we're constantly coming through and weeding little bits of grass and lamb's quarter and other bits of weeds that are growing up that would obviously grow really fast and compete against this garlic. And so we've had to weed it more. It's bone dry. The garlic is smaller because of the weed pressure and the water, the lack of water. And yet we've done nothing, literally nothing, to our other garlic bed that has the dill. And so I hope you guys learned something new. I hope you all will try this next year. I know it's a little late this year, but sometimes when I try something, I like to see the results before I talk about them, because I don't want to show results that would lead someone astray, because you might have watched to this point in the video, but not everyone watches every video fully through. And if we, and not everyone watches every video either. So you might see me try something and then it fails. Well, you thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. You tried it and your garden suffered because of it. I don't want anyone's garden to suffer because of just an experiment. And I like to do a lot of experiments here. So This was a really fun one. I would give this one an A+, and I definitely think I will be implementing this in other ways in the future. Maybe next year I'll try it with some carrots. Maybe next year I'll try it with some fennel or some parsley, some other kind of low, slow growing crops that are not dill. See how that works. And I'm just really excited about it. So hope you guys enjoyed. As always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel reminding you to grow bigger. I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.